What's up, everyone? Fritz here again with another episode of Sneakerhead Ambition, and today I've got another live cop for you. Today I'm going to be covering the Yeezy Slide Bones, which dropped on Friday, October 7th, and it definitely took place across a wide variety of sites. I will cover all of those in depth today, as I was able to get a pretty solid setup across all platforms up and running. So that's what I'll get into today. So starting off, just going over my setup, I've been trying and talking about for like a month or so now of really pushing to get all of my bots set up to run all the sites simultaneously. This had not really been an issue until about 3 months ago, when they really kind of pushed towards every site when there's a Yeezy Supply drops at 10. If you have been botting for a while or are familiar with the space, that definitely wasn't the case like a year ago and just prior to that. If you remember, right, usually like FNL and Foots would drop at 7 a.m., Shopify would be at 10, Yeezy Supply would be at 9, some other DSG would be at 10, right? There was a pretty big spread. So you weren't really running into the issues of like having to pick which site to run each bot on. And that's even if you had the option, right? Obviously a lot of people, and I was in this boat for years, have like a bot to run, right? Or two. So I am very fortunate that I have a pretty solid spread of bots that I've worked years to build up to, but I was happy with the setup that I got and how I did it kind of across all sites. So I will get into that today. I have been talking about that for a while, and I'll cover each one of those sites and the bots that I did run for the bone slides. All right, so what I ran on the day. For Yeezy Supply, I ran my usual setup, right? Trickle, what bot, Valor, so that's what I usually run. For Footsites, I ran Secret IO, I ran Valor for FNL and JD, I ran Haya for DSG, and I ran Elephant AIO for Nordstroms and Hibbett. So again, ran pretty much every site, didn't get Shopify in there. I'm gonna work to do that next time, but pretty much ran everything. So like I said, I'll break each one of those down now and the bot that I used and whether or not I had success on those sites. So before I break down each site, I will just say I got 28 pairs on the day. They look to have stuck at this point, so I'm confident in putting that number out there. That breakdown was 23 on Yeezy Supply and 5 on FNL of the 60, 70 checkouts I got. So I got 5 to stick, happy with that. We talked about that ad nauseum on this channel. But that was 28 on the day, and Valor hit me all the 5 pairs that I did get on FNL. So 28 on that day. Pretty happy with that, and I will go over what I had succeed and what helped me succeed on those sites, as well as the other sites that I didn't hit on, what I did wrong, and kind of where I'm going to go from here. So starting off with the main one, right, Yeezy Supply. The one piece of news that came out of this, and I've heard after the drop, I'm not 100% certain. I've got to kind of follow my leads on some more people and talk to people who I trust, that I know are in the know on these things. Because I'm not a dev, I'm not a coder, right? So I don't know the back end, but apparently during this drop, Yeezy Supply was not using Gmail scores for passing splash. So that could have been a big factor why people struggled. I know Trickle didn't hardly get any checkouts. I got 0, pretty much everybody got 0 on that bot. So that could have thrown them for a loop. What bot obviously did extremely well, and Valor performed pretty well for me too. So that's just something to keep in mind. I don't know if that's gonna be the move moving forward. I don't know what that means from a resource perspective moving forward, but if we didn't need Gmails anymore, I know I could save a lot of money on Gmails and subnets. As far as the actual drop went, the big concern or question coming out of this is still the 2 address limit debate or just issue, right? There definitely I'm not gonna say that there's a limit to 2 per address, because I know for a fact that I've gotten more than 2 per an address. I know two people that I've ran ACO for, we've gotten more than 2 to 1 address, but it's not 10, 15 like it's been in the past, right? It's like 3. So I don't think that that's a hard cap, but I do think it's relatively obvious and safe to say at this point that they've drastically increased the sensitivity of their bot protection and how they're assessing your address, right? So if you are using the exact same jig on every single profile, I would highly suggest that you change that, right? There are a lot of other ways to do it. There's different ways you can put the numbers, the address line 2, the zip code, right? Just switch up the way you're doing things. That doesn't mean that you have to completely abandon what you were doing, but that might be a good option. I have not yet experimented with new VCCs that I haven't used compared to older ones that have checkouts. So, if you have any data on that, definitely tell your cook group. I would love to hear it. I do like to hear people's experiences because it just gives you a better kind of feel for the space and how people are doing. But I do think, like I said, it's safe to say that you really need to go out of your way more to make your jigs unique and different. So you can't just go with what you've been doing. Try to find more addresses. I know I've harped on that for over a year now, and this is why, right? It's always a good thing to have more places to ship, right? It's not necessary on every site, but things change, right? If you've only been around for like 6 months, this might seem like earth shattering, right? But every year or two, there's big changes, right? There's been big changes to Footsites, big changes to Yeezy Supply, big changes to Shopify, FNL, right? Every site changes. So do your best with what you've got, but I would really look at just changing the addresses and how you're doing them, as well as just networking and trying to get more addresses to where you can actually ship so that you have just more leeway in how many addresses you can create from one. Other than that, the drop was pretty straightforward. It didn't last very long, which is different than what's been going on as of late. I'd say the past month, most drops are lasting like 30 to 40 minutes, maybe 25, 40 minutes. But this one was over in like 14, 15, 16 minutes. That could have been because there just wasn't much stock. I heard the rumored stock number was like 10K on Yeezy Supply, so that definitely could have played a factor. Checkouts just came a lot faster this time. Now, that could be a part of the new way that they're possibly going about passing Splash. If it's not the Gmails anymore, I heard that it was more proxy dependent on whether or not you were passing Splash. Like I said, we just don't have that much data to go off of, but I would strongly suggest, again, just changing the way you're doing things, and just seeing that, one of the big reasons that I'm pushing all these other sites at more, right, is because it's harder to get these pairs on here. I was thrilled with 23, right, but it's definitely changed a lot. So just keep that in mind, and it's just something to consider moving forward. The proxy breakdown for me personally was pretty even. It was pretty even between ISPs and residentials on the day. So that there's some data kind of on that and just what I saw, and I ran those pretty evenly. So they seem to both do pretty well. The majority of my pairs I hit with Porter and Oculus. Those two carried the majority of it for me. And then I also hit a lot of pairs on a new company subnet called Niubility, Niubility. So thank you to them. That was the first time I'd used their proxies, and they worked very well. And then I hit several pairs or a couple pairs, I guess, from the technical definition with COMET, Wolves, and Lemon. So did pretty well on the day. Oh, and hit one with Ping and Proxy have an ISP. So did pretty well on the day. Like I said, pretty even spread between residentials and ISPs, and I ran a pretty even spread. So there wasn't really one that dominated on the day as far as I could tell. Next, I'll touch on Footsites just real quick. Like I said, I did run Secret IO. I've had some success with it. I haven't run it that much just because of the fact that a lot of the times when I've been trying to run Footsites, right, Yeezy Supply has been going on, and I only had one account of AYCD, and I would be trying to use AI and non-AI, and it just wasn't really going to work out. I did get another copy of AYCD. You can get their information in the section below, but that allowed me to run Secret IO while I was running all these other bots and sites. Unfortunately, I did not hit on Footsites. I'm not really even sure what happened. Not the best for this video, but I need to go back and look and see if they even dropped, if I did something wrong, if they just dropped a couple pairs. And I had automation set up for the rest of the day, and one time they came up and started running, but I didn't hit anything. So I think there just pretty much wasn't any pairs on there. If any of y'all had success on Foots on this day, I would love to hear about it and tell me what worked, but it's pretty much what happened. I ran the one bot, ran residentials, COMET, and some Porter Footsite ISPs, but didn't hit on there. So that's really all I've got for you on Footsites on the day. The next site that we're going to go over is FNL and JD. Per usual, I ran Valor, and I ran one copy of Valor with about 1,200 tasks relatively quickly, which is unusual because typically, as of late, right, FNL and JD have been taking a lot longer to drop their pairs. They've been making you wait in queue 15, 20, 30, 40 minutes. The last video I posted, they had everybody wait 40 minutes before they dropped stock. But on this one, it was pretty quick. I think within the first 2 to 3 minutes, they started dropping. I hit about 60 pairs on webhook within the first probably 5 minutes. So I shut that down. And out of those 60, about 5 stuck. That does seem to have been solidified at this point. So I was happy with that. Per usual, like I say on there, I'm really fortunate that, and again, all 5 were mine. I hit 2 for me, 3 for ACO. But I mention this a lot. I'm really fortunate that I've got like 20 plus addresses around me that I go to pick up shoes. And I have people that run ACO 4 that have 5, 10 addresses too. So you've got to remember that. It's not like I'm running a bunch of cards with 1 or 2 addresses on it. I literally have over 50 addresses that I'm running that are each unique when I'm running on Finish Line and JD Sports. So just know that that is different than like if you're at home running a couple privacy cards with one address. Like they don't equate. So I'm fortunate enough that I can do that at that scale, but that's really how I'm able to get those checkouts to stick, just by brute force hitting a bunch of pairs with a lot of different addresses. It's usually unlikely that they cross. So I think that that's a big reason why I'm able to get the couple pairs that I do each time on that site. On DSG, I ran Haya, Heha, whatever it's called. I'm going with Haya. I ran Haya. They seem to have struggled on the day. That site is definitely hit or miss. It seems like whenever I don't run it, it hits a bunch. But on the day, they definitely struggled, which is, that's bots. I'm not knocking on them. That happens, and I know that they do well on there, drop to drop. Sometimes they struggle. That's being a dev. That's botting. But that didn't work on the day, so I didn't hit any pairs with Haya. It does appear that Prism took stock. I heard that they were the bot that was hitting all stock. So, just per usual, I run the tasks. I ran Comet, Wolves, Lemon. Didn't hit, but like I said, it didn't look like anybody hit with Haya. So that was what it was on the day, but didn't hit anything there either. And finally, I ran a new bot that I just got access to called Elephant AIO. I did not hit on it. That's okay though. It's the first time I really was able to run it. So I definitely learned from it. I did get a bunch of declines. I got like 15 to 20 declines on Nordstroms like the second that 10 a.m. hit. So something kind of worked. I need to look at my profiles. I need to look at my proxies. Just need to see if maybe I use ISPs. Maybe I need to use residentials, do a mix, whatever the case may be. But I was happy that at least I had it set up enough to hit that or get declines. That's something that I can always look at and tinker with moving forward. But it does look like people hit on that site with Elephant AIO. They did get checkout, so that's a good sign moving forward. Again, it's nice when you make some progress with getting a checkout or something, because then you've got something to go off of. Apparently their Hibbett module kind of struggled on the day, so that's okay. Didn't hit with that either, but that's kind of what I was working with on Hibbett and Nordstrom. So those are definitely sites I'm going to use moving forward with that bot. Definitely looks promising, so I'll keep you all updated on that as I move forward. So all in all, I was pretty happy with this. There is a lot going on screen, since I do have a lot more going on than just Yeezy Supply or like just 2 sites, right? I've got 5 servers up there with 12 bots. So there's a good amount going on. I do try to show every screen at least once, but I did the best I could. But overall, like I said, I'm very happy with how the day turned out. I would have liked to have hit on Footsites, would have liked Haya to work on DSG, would have liked to get some of those Elephant Nordstrom tasks or checkouts to stick. But I was overall very happy with just how the flow of the morning went, right? I talk a lot about when I'm talking about how to improve at botting. Like if you nail running one bot, I know it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but going from like 1 bot to 3 bots is, I remember doing it and being like, wow, that was a lot harder than I thought. So just consider that, right? Like when you see that, the more bots you add, it gets exponentially harder, right? It's not a linear thing, like it's an exponential thing. It gets a lot harder. So don't look at this if you haven't mastered one bot yet and be like, I'm gonna try that too. I'm gonna run Elephant AIO, I'm gonna run Haya, I'm running everything. Don't do that, right? But again, if you've been watching this channel, it's been a pretty steady progression, right? Of kind of what I've been running. If you were watching me a year ago, you'd see me run like 1 bot, right? This drop I was running 12. Just keep that in mind, right? So like I said, a lot going on screen. I tried to show everything, so just know that I did my best. Like I mentioned, I did want to run Shopify. You will see me run Shopify at the end at 11, trying to hit DSM and Atmos, which I did not. Didn't seem like they dropped at that time. But overall, like I said, that's like a small tweak that I can work on moving forward. It really is just one more bot to add. It is a bot that I've got to pay more attention to with the captchas and everything, but that's pretty easy fix from here. So I'll look to do that the next time there's a big drop and just get that in there so that I'm just really trying to exploit every site possible when trying to get pairs. As always, a massive shout out and thank you to my sponsors. I couldn't do this without y'all, and I really do back these companies. Any company that you see down there in the information section below, I stand by the company, their customer service, their team, right? The product that they have, everything down there, I really stand by. Just recently started working with AYCD. You've probably seen it in every video I've posted, right? Toolbox allows you to farm Gmails, Autosolve AI, great tool. So if you need that, definitely check that out. If you're gonna buy it, you pretty much need it. But just, again, a big shout out to my sponsors. I really can't speak highly enough of them, and I recommend that you all check them out if you are looking for resources. Anyways, that's all for this portion of this live cop. Like I said, a good amount of footage coming up next. And also, per usual, if you have ever found my information on this channel useful and you enjoy these episodes, I really can't ask you enough to just subscribe or like this video. It takes 2 seconds and it really helps me out a lot. I just didn't really realize how bad I was about that until I started making content on my own. So just something. And if you want to follow me on my other social media channels, I am on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, where I do post daily. And other than that, check back in a couple days. I will have that sneakers video up next, the episode strictly about that. So check back for that. And other than that, until next time, see ya.